A new national suicide emergency crisis helpline is rolling out across Canada on November 30th. The Canadian Mental Health Association for Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes, and Northumberland area announced it will be the local provider for the new 988 crisis line.
And in my view, it's finally recognizing that we need to do something nationally and locally to address the suicide risks and deaths in our community. And 988, what it's offering is that ability for someone who is having thoughts of suicide or is in crisis to be able to dial 3 numbers, not 7 numbers, and connect with a live voice that's available to assess and triage the person's risk to suicide and then get the help that they might need.
According to Statistics Canada, 4,500 people in Canada die by suicide every year. That's approximately 12 people per day. Every day, more than 200 people attempt suicide. The Canadian Mental Health Association says 6 new full-time staff have been hired to answer calls 24/7, 365 days a year.
When the call is answered, a 988 responder will hear what they have to say. They're going to ask them questions about suicide. They're going to understand what led to an increase in their thoughts of suicide on that day or that week or that month. Really just pause and understand what is going on for that individual. And from that assessment and listening to that story, hear the distress that is driving the thoughts of suicide. And then with the individual, land on what is the best next steps for you. Whether that is safety planning for their safety in that time and moment, whether that be that there is an assessment that the individual may not be able to stay safe and perhaps hospital is the correct destination. Ultimately though, the aim of 988 is to provide supports and services in the community. So again, working with the individual to get connected to other existing mental health supports.
MP Jamie Schmale says the program is a result of the hard work of his Conservative colleague, MP Todd Doherty.
So Todd's from Northern BC, had a personal experience, a close friend of him. He lost to suicide, so he's been a tremendous advocate for mental health and getting the supports in place as quickly as possible. And he was the critic for mental health for a number of years for the official opposition, and he worked very hard with the stakeholders right across the country to come up with the idea and a plan to implement a 3-digit hotline that people in crisis could access very quickly. He put forward a motion in the House of Commons a couple of times, the last of which got approved unanimously.
988 will go live in our area on November 30th at 3 a.m. locally.